Oh my goodness, I've been muted this whole time. That's disappointing. Well, I said it to God, I said it to myself. um, but yeah, consciousness. The awareness that sees through our eyes is just God realizing himself. And the light of God bouncing off of a mirror that's also made of God. The nameless, the formless, the source from which what the Tao Te Ching calls the 10,000 things. Um, yeah, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. So if you're trying to describe, like try to describe formless, or try to describe nothing, and you can't. And that's what God is. God is completely unknowable by human perception, which is why so many people say that God does not exist, which again depends on your definition of existing. But yes, I would agree with you. God does not exist physically. God does not exist metaphysically, even, because metaphysics are still a part of this existence. Metaphysics are, you know, karma. A lot of people say karma and they mean like the westernized version of, you you get what you deserve, or you get what you reap what you sow, basically. But that's not karma. Karma is that yin yang, that being held by everything is perfecting. Everything is constantly, as George Harrison put it, wanting to be a perfect entity. Everything is working toward being a perfect entity. And that doesn't look like, us doing better and better every day, or, the world is getting more pleasant and peaceful, or, it means nothing in this plane of existence. It just means God is realizing, God is seeing himself. And that process never ends. And it doesn't depend on you, and it doesn't depend on this earth, and it doesn't depend on anything. Anything. It doesn't. And that's why we can rest. We can rest and know that we are held and taken care of and perfected and sharpened and loved and seen, because that's what God does. God sees. That's the whole purpose. The reason why the light of God reflects off of, off of nothing and becomes this plane of existence, it's because God is seeing himself. God is seeing you. God is seeing you. The Tao that can be named is not the true Tao. You can't describe God. You can't describe the way. That's another word for Tao. Tao can mean God. Tao means way. The Hindus call it Brahman. Um, or Shiva. Shiva's cool. Let me get Shiva. This is one of the depictions of Shiva, and so you can see this is Shiva, and this little statuette holds a lot of meaning. So this is Shiva, and he is, you can see that he's dancing this divine dance, and that is the dance that's reflecting onto this plane of existence. You can see that's neat. That's kitten back there. It's reflecting on this plane of existence. This plane of existence is the dance. It's the dance itself. And that's why, yeah, the divine dance of Shiva is called Leela. That's the Hindi word for the divine dance and the play of Shiva that results in all this tat. And it really is that, it's that folly, it's play for the sake of play and dance for the sake of dance. And more than that, he is in this balance. And you can see here, he holds his hand up. And that's the comfort of knowing that God sees you, that you're okay, and that this life can feel like you're dying. But this is Shiva saying you can't die, because you are the same consciousness that makes up me, and I am completely eternal, and you are held. And I know there's a couple different meanings for the way that he's standing. I forget exactly what. I know he is, I believe he's holding either a chillum or a drum in this hand. And then in this hand, he holds fire. Because Shiva's part of what you could call the Hindu Trinity. The creator, who is Brahma, and he made this manifestation. The preserver, who is Vishnu, he holds it all together and provides for us in this earth. And Shiva, the destroyer, and that can sound really intimidating, but Shiva is in many places considered the ultimate, kind of like God the Father in a way. Shiva is the thing that destroys to make way for new life. And what I love about Shiva, and I thought about this the other day, Brahma, the creator, has to create from something. Brahma has to exist from somewhere. And then Vishnu has to have something to preserve. And so those two kind of rely on each other, but Shiva does not rely on either one of them. Shiva is the formless, the infinite, the source that all these things spring from. He exists outside of any of this. And this is why he's in this ring of fire. Because he holds fire in his hand. And he's in this ring of fire. This ring represents samsara. And what that means is this cycle of life and death that we find ourselves caught in. And it is very fiery because this plane of existence is suffering. And I know that sounds really harsh, but if you're placing all of your eggs in this basket and you're saying that this existence is real, you're going to be sorely disappointed, because this existence goes away and so do you. So do what you call yourself, your personality or your ego. You disappear. And if you attach yourself to things of this plane of existence, you will get hurt. No matter what, because they always go away. And even if they don't in your lifetime, you will. Can't even attach yourself to yourself. And that's what samsara is this big ring of attachment that causes burning suffering. But if you look, the very bottom is not completed. The ring doesn't complete here. And if you can see, it's because he's standing on this tiger. And this tiger represents the ego. And he is crushing it. He's killing it. He's dancing joyfully on the ego of man and existence and materialism. And in that crushing, he stops this ring of fire from being completed. He stops the suffering. The only way to put an end to suffering in this existence is to kill the ego. And that means to completely, as the Christians would say, take up your cross, die to yourself, die to this world, die to individuality and attachment. And that is, I'm sure you can imagine, so much easier said than done. And I am not saying that I have done it by any means. But no matter what you think is happening, no matter if you think your ego is still alive, this is what is happening. This is reality. This tiger will always be crushed. It doesn't have a chance. Because one day, sooner or later, it's going to die. Because Shiva will crush it. And it's up to what we do in this plane of existence. Hi, baby. Whether or not we feel this fire, whether or not we perceive this circle as being completed, and we say that I am attached to this thing, and if I lose it, I'll never be the same. You know, you feel it when you go through a breakup, and you say, I don't know how I'm going to live without this thing. I don't know how I'm going to live without this person. I miss them so much. I'm so attached. But that bond is broken, and you feel it. You feel that pain. But in reality, nothing has changed. The circle is not complete. The ego is dead. But you feel that fire. And that's why Shiva says, it's okay. It's okay. The fire is not going to burn you. It feels like it. It feels really close, but it's not going to burn you. You're not going to die. It is not dying. Another way to talk about Shiva is this. This is the Shivaling, or the Shivalinga. And it is basically, this top part represents Shiva, and the male phallus. And this bottom part is called the yoni, and yoni means womb. It means it's the female, and it is Shiva is penetrating through the female part of existence. This manifestation is the female, and Shiva comes through in this divine penetration of showing that This is not all that there is. And this kind of means the same thing as that other depiction. It's that. And you know what? That is here too. This is why the Buddha does that. He is feeling that. That is what enlightenment reveals. If you can even call it enlightenment. The Buddha didn't really talk much about enlightenment after he was enlightened, which is funny. Because you think he'd go around telling all people, you know, this is what you need to do to be enlightened. This is what you need to believe. But if anything, he stopped talking so much. And certain times when people would ask him questions, he would refuse to answer. Especially when people asked him about enlightenment, he wouldn't answer. And if he did, it would be in the most vague way possible. There's a story of someone coming to him, and I forget exactly the question he asked, but he asked something about, you know, about enlightenment, about this life, and how can you know that it's okay? And the Buddha looked at him and he smiled. And that man said, "Oh, no," he said, impart on me the most divine wisdom you can offer. And the Buddha smiled. And he said, "I understand." And he went away with more understanding. And the Buddha's followers asked him, like, what? How did he understand that? I don't get it. You just smiled. And it's because they weren't ready for that, what they call Zen transmission. It means you speak without words. You name without naming, because the Tao cannot be named. Yeah. I think I'm done for right now. Namaste and peace. Om. The primordial vibration, Om. I didn't even talk about that. Om is, it's the resonance. It's what I talked about before, resonating. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. I'm sure I'll talk again later.